Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome to Hella Hungry, where I try different food spots and let you know how I feel. Today I'm in downtown Nutley, New Jersey at a Cuban restaurant called Cubita. They recently opened not too long ago, and I've been meaning to try this spot for quite some time. And it's about 9:30 a.m. this morning, so I'm hella hungry. It's breakfast time. Let's go have some Cuban food.
Just empanada land.
Owner of Kubita in Nutley, New Jersey.
What's up, guys? My name's Gustavo Gutierez. I am the chef and owner of Cubita Cafe here in Nutley.
How did you start?
So this business started during the pandemic. I was a fine dining chef. I was driving my wife crazy at home. One day I decided to make empanadas. Took a picture, posted it on Instagram. The DMs started coming in, and I was selling empanadas out of my 2-car garage, and eventually I got to a point where we couldn't supply the demand anymore, and we saved up and we built this place.
And why Nutley?
Because Nutley's the town that needed it the most, right? I grew up in Hudson County. Everybody knows me as Hudson Chef. Over there you get an empanada at a bodega, you get it at a bakery, you get an empanada anywhere, right? But nobody goes through the trouble to make the empanada, to actually make the dough, seal it by hand, and it's a saturated market. There's no empanada or Latin restaurant anywhere in Nutley, so I figured if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it here and introduce these people to not only an empanada, but also a higher end empanada, right? Something that they're not gonna find anywhere else. We're also home to the everything bagel empanada. So it's basically your average, like you would get at a bagel shop, a bacon, egg, and cheese on a everything bagel. So we do the same concept, but it's inside of an empanada and the seasoning's on the outside. So now it makes it mobile. Driving to work, you have your empanada, your café con leche, and you're good to go.
That sounds amazing. It's my first time trying Cuban food, so.
Oh, all right.
What would you recommend I order? What's the 1-2 step that people come here for?
You have to have the Cuban sandwich. I always tell people to try the regular Cuban sandwich before they try the Cubita. The Cubita is like an elevated version. The problem with the Cubita is once you have that, you don't want to have a regular Cuban sandwich, right?
Right.
It kind of spoils you. So coffee's a must. Everything bagel empanadas are a must. Everything we do still has that fine dining technique. Even our croquetas are usually made out of ham. We grind bacon into ours just to elevate it a little bit more, give it more flavor. We have papas rellenas, which is a big hit. Basically, it's like an arancini, but instead of having rice on the outside, it has mashed potato and ground beef in the center, and it's like this deep fried ball of goodness.
I think I'll order. I definitely want a Cuban sandwich to start.
For sure.
And you said the everything bagel empanada.
Bagel empanada, yeah. So I have 3 of them. We do Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. We do chorizo, egg, and cheese. We do bacon, egg, and cheese. And then we have one that's just a mix of Swiss cheese and mozzarella.
I came from Brooklyn, so I definitely got to try the bacon, egg, and cheese empanada. And I'll do the Taylor ham. I was introduced to Taylor ham when I moved here to North Jersey. I'm like, let's see what the hype's about.
It's a very Jersey thing. It's a very Jersey thing.
Very Jersey.
Jersey people love their Taylor ham. That's like their jam.
Yep. And the South Jersey people will argue and call it pork roll. I'm like, I'm not here to argue.
Hey, listen.
It goes in your stomach and it's good.
Listen, technically, you're allowed to call it Taylor ham if you don't cheap on what you buy, right?
Right.
Because Taylor ham is a brand of pork roll. But to me, it's the only brand.
Gotcha, Bob.
So as you can see, look, you have all the seasoning right on the empanada.
Beautiful.
So when we fry it, it toasts up and it gives it even more flavor than you would have on a bagel.
Wow.
And then we flash them all to order so they're nice and warm.
what's inside a Cuban sandwich? Let me know.
So a Cuban sandwich traditionally is ham, cheese, and then roasted ham. A lot of people say it's pernil. So I use the diagram that I have here. So pernil comes from this part, right?
Okay.
The ham is back here. So a true Cuban sandwich is the roasted ham and it's sliced by hand.
Okay.
So it's that, boiled ham, Swiss cheese, mojo, which is basically the base of all Cuban cooking, right? Which consists of bitter orange juice, lime, garlic, amongst other things that we put in there. But that's our secret sauce, so we don't give away all the details. And I think one of the most important parts is the bread. A lot of people source whatever bread they could get. I drive 30 minutes to pick this bread up. The plan is to buy so much bread off them, they create a route for us. But we get our bread from Union City. I've been going to this bakery since I was a kid. It's called Cuba Bakery. It's on Summit. If you're in Union City, check them out. They have the most authentic Cuban bread you could get. There's two types of Cuban bread. There's one that's pan de manteca. This one here is pan de agua. So it's made with water instead of fat, which I find holds up better for a Cuban sandwich, just because you already have so much fat in there. Just to have fat in the bread becomes too much. So this is, to me, it's the best bread for a Cuban sandwich. It's the only bread. And the way to do it is on the plancha. So we have cast iron planchas that are constantly acquiring more flavor as we cook on them. And that's why sometimes it takes 15-20 minutes for a sandwich, because you have to cook it low and slow, so you heat all the ingredients all the way through, and that bread gets nice and crispy. I call it the flick test. A good Cuban sandwich, you should always be able to flick it, and it gives you that little knock,
So the press makes it, that's what makes it crispy, the crunch, right?
100%, 100%. A lot of people put butter on it right away, but butter has a very low smoking temp. So what happens is you put butter on it at the beginning, it's gonna start to burn, or it'll toast your bread before all the ingredients are warm.
Okay.
One thing I always say, good food takes time, right? I mean, we could probably serve it in half the time, but it'll be half the sandwich.
So I'm excited to try a Cuban sandwich. I've always wanted to try one, so I already smell it. This is good. So,
You came to the right place. Wait till that mojo hits that plancha.
okay.
Game changer.
And you said mandatory to get Cuban coffee. What makes Cuban coffee special? What's in it?
So,
Crack?
basically it is like crack. Traditionally, Cuban coffee was born out of necessity, which is a lot of people don't understand. Cuba cultivated some of the best coffee on earth, right? But all of that coffee was exported. And it was exported with a brand called Cubita. It's called Café Cubita, which is where our name comes from. That's why we're Cubita Cafe. So the coffee that was left on the island for the people was the coffee that nobody wanted. So we would roast it really dark to get rid of those natural flavors that weren't so pleasant. And then when we used to process the sugar, when you process it, the white sugar forms in the center, which we export. The molasses forms around the outside, which we use for our rum. Right? And then whatever's left in between is known as the impurities, which here now is a commodity we call sugar in the raw or demerara. Right? But in Cuba, that was the sugar that didn't dissolve, that nobody wanted. So what we did was we used to brew our coffee in the little pot that goes on the stove, right? And then take a little bit of that just to dissolve the sugar. And we would whip it. Then we realized that when you would whip it, it would create this consistency that once you pour the rest of the coffee in, it gives that crema that baristas are always looking for, right? So that's how Cuban coffee really came about. So if you go to Miami and you have what they call cortadito, usually it's very sweet, right? Because the coffee's been over roasted and it's bitter. So to contrast that, they add that sweetness and they do it the old school way. We wanted to take a modern approach on that. Like I said, I was a fine dining chef for a long time. I try to elevate everything I do. I try to find the best, I try to serve the best. And we worked with our roaster for 3 months to find a single origin that really held the characteristics of that robust Cuban coffee flavor without the bitterness. So our coffee doesn't have any fluffers, there's no Robusto in it. It's a single origin. It's roasted Cuban style. It's brought in the country, it's roasted Cuban style just for us, and it's shipped to us the very next day. So every time we get a delivery, Whatever's left, we've turned into our cold brew. So our cold brew also doesn't have any fluffers in it. And any coffee that you drink here has been roasted maximum 6 days ago.
That sounds like it will wake me up.
Oh yeah, no, this will revive a dead man.
I love my caffeine.
And then
Right.
we even have, our machine is, we have a manual machine, which you really don't see that much anymore. So as you can see, there's not many buttons or anything to this machine. I mean, there's steam, and then there's a manual lever. Everything has to be done manually. So the shot is pulled just from the pressure that we're putting on it. So it takes a little bit more art to do it. It's not just pressing a button, you know, and I find that it fits our style, right? Because we have that old school meets that new school, and I love this machine. We call her Victoria here.
Victoria. Made with love. I like that. And
That's it.
explain the Biggie mural. I came from Brooklyn, so I really liked that when I walked in.
So
Like, I wasn't sure. Is this a Cuban man at first? But then I looked closely.
right.
Wait a minute.
The people that don't know Biggie, I just tell them it's my Cuban uncle. So my culture at home was always Cuban. I mean, I went to preschool. I didn't know a word of English. So being Cuban's a huge part of my culture. I mean, I have an espresso cup tattooed on my pinky. But also growing up, hip hop was a huge part of my culture too. I mean, that's all me and my friends listened to. We weren't putting Celia Cruz in our boom boxes that we were walking around with, right? We were listening to Biggie, Wu-Tang, and that was something that I think other people could relate to. So even if you don't know Cuban food, you might come in here to listen to the music, to hear the vibe, right? And then you try Cuban food and you're like, oh wait, this is good. So I feel like it's bringing two cultures together that really represent me. You know, it's easier to sell something that you believe in. So everything in this restaurant really represents who I am and, you know, the things that I care about, which is food, coffee, culture, people, you know. Even like que vola. Que vola that literally means what's up in Cuban. It's like saying what's good, you know.
How do you say it?
Que vola. So
I'm working on my Spanish.
Yeah,
or
you walk in, you see
Cubuela?
the Cuban, you say que vola,
Que vola?
que vola.
I said right?
With a B. Que vola, que vola.
Que vola?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna say that to my girlfriend to see if she understands.
That's it, 100%.
She's Puerto Rican, so.
Oh, she's gonna know. She's gonna
Abuela?
know you're hanging out with Cubans.
Yeah. I get mistaken for Latino all the time, so it's funny, but.
Yeah, man. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of words that offend people, and like, you know, que vola is for everybody, man. Nobody's gonna get offended. You walk in somewhere, you say que vola. I mean, you call here, we even pick up the phone, we say Cubita cafe, que vola, you know, and now people are starting to say it back. It's starting to become a culture. It's more than just a cafe.
Right, so this is the everything empanada. The bacon, egg, and cheese empanada and the Taylor ham and cheese empanada. So I'm gonna break one open and see. I'll find out what's inside. Let me just break this apart for you. Look at that. Look at that. So I believe this looks like the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. So I'm about to take a bite. Mmm. Mmm. The bread is delicious. It's crunchy on the outside, very savory on the inside. The Taylor ham, egg, and cheese is a melting of flavors. It's different. I've never had this before, so it's a good for any time of the day, breakfast, lunch. Mmm. Third bite, with all the cheese, got even real delicious right there. Mm-hmm. See the ham? for the bacon, egg, and cheese empanada. Mmm, look at that cheese. Bacon right there, y'all see that? So these empanadas hit different. I never had a bacon, egg, and cheese or a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese inside an empanada. It's a nice modern twist to it. I think everybody will like this. It's a very popular item on the menu, so definitely get the Taylor egg and ham and cheese empanada and the bacon, egg, and cheese empanada. They also have a bunch of other stuff on their menu. You could try those as well. But today I'm gonna start with these two, and then the main entree is gonna be the Cuban sandwich. So it's a big meal, but I'm hella hungry, so that's why I'm here.
We warmed the sandwich all the way through first. So once the sandwich is at this point and it's warmed all the way through, now is when I add my mojo, make sure it's warm. Now we add our mojo. Mojo is the secret
sauce?
to Cuban cooking, man. That's where all the flavor is. Once that hits the plancha, people are like, what's that smell? You know? It lures them. So that, the pickle, and the butter, we always add right at the end. Because the more you cook acid, the more you lose it, right?
Right.
And acidity and fat are two major components of flavor. So we want to maximize our flavor, and we don't want that to get too hot, because then it'll kill everything we worked so hard to achieve. Now we put a generous layer of butter on there. Press that bad boy back up.
What's this test called?
We call it the flick test. Usually when I get a Cuban sandwich, I give it that flick. If it doesn't sound like you're hitting a cardboard box, you didn't toast your bread right. Or you didn't have the right bread to begin with. Now we cut all our Cuban sandwiches long ways. It's the traditional way. It's the way they've been doing it in Tampa, Miami, and all these places that are famous for Cuban sandwiches.
Right, you got the Cuban sandwich. It looks amazing. Look at the pickles. You know me, I love me some pickles. It smells amazing too. All right, here goes the first bite, fresh off the press. Get some pickle in it. That's that mojo, huh?
It's like an explosion of flavor.
Yeah, an explosion of flavor. High quality pickles. I love pickles, so the pickle combination with the ham and cheese. And you said there's pernil in there? Pernil?
So it's actually not pernil. It's the back leg of the ham. So we inject it with mojo. We let it sit for 24 hours. Then we roast it, depending on the size of the leg, anywhere from 7 to 8 hours. And then we let it cool down and we slice it by hand.
I taste it now. It's like tender, juicy. Wow, this is amazing. First time. Highly recommend the Cuban sandwich. I'm gonna have to try the other sandwich as well next time.
I think you're gonna have to. Maybe we just make you one now. You can save that half and bring it home.
You think so?
I think so. I think you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I think it could go.
Regular Cuban, I think we need to hit you with the elevator.
Okay, so I'll take this home. I eat half of this and half of the other one you said. What was it called? Cubano?
We call it the Kubita.
Kubita.
So it's like our signature Cuban sandwich.
Okay, so this is more just like the introduction to Cuban sandwiches. This is a regular?
That's as authentic as it gets. Not authentic. So that's not authentic in the sense of how they created it in Tampa, right?
Right.
They created it in Tampa, it was very different. This is authentic in the sense of how it's eaten in Cuba.
Oh, in Cuba, okay.
So when you go to Cuba, because obviously Cubans also adapt a lot of American culture. You go to Cuba and they say sandwich. That's not how you say sandwich in Spanish, right?
Right.
But they adapt a lot of American culture. And they also adapted the Cuban sandwich after it was invented in Tampa. So when you get a Cuban sandwich in Cuba, those are the components. There's no mustard, there's no mayo, there's no salami, there's none of that stuff, right?
Right.
It's just ham, cheese, roasted ham, pickles, mojo, butter on top of the bread, that's it.
Yeah.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, the butter on the bread and the press, how it makes it flat, that's a game changer with that crunch. Check it out. This is quality bread. Cheese is good too. That mojo flavor with the cheese hit different. Nothing like I've ever had before. You know, shout out to Cuban people, shout out to the Cuban food. I'm feeling it.
You know, I find a lot of times when you go out to eat, your server's having a bad day, she broke up with her boyfriend, she forgot your drink, all of a sudden you're like, this place sucks, right?
Right.
Here the relationship's very simple. You come in, you order your food, you sit down, we bring it to you, and that's it. That's the end of the relationship. And I know that anything I serve you is gonna be on point, right? Because I don't serve anything I don't believe in. So it makes for an easier relationship, you know? If you want a drink, you grab it right out of the ice bin, right? Everything is just very simplified. It's not a super fancy place. We believe in quality. We believe in cleanliness. That's why everything here is white. The kitchen's open. You can't hide dirt here.
Right.
And we want people to feel comfortable with where their food's prepared. A lot of chefs try to hide their kitchen. I don't want to hide my kitchen. I want you to see what we're doing, see how we're preparing your food, because that should be the way food is prepared, right? You shouldn't be hiding what you're doing because your kitchen's a mess or something like that.
Right.
You should be proud of what you do and take pride in it and show it off to your customers. And plus, when people walk in, sometimes I'm busy, my customers walk over and they're having a conversation with me while I'm working. So I still have that connection with my customer.
So this is the Cuban cold brew.
Cuban cold brew, man.
So you said it had condensed milk and tres leches?
So the tres leches is a mix of evaporated milk, whole milk, and condensed milk.
Oh, wow.
So we call it tres leche because that's what's used to soak a traditional cake, which you're gonna try and feel. Traditional sponge cake that we make that is soaked in 3 milks. So we call it the 3 milk cake, tres leche.
3 milk, that's what it means. Wow, that was beautiful. We got my Cuban sandwich to go. Now it's time for the Cuban cold brew, topped with tres leches, 3 milks. Cheers. Good morning, y'all. It's crap. I had a monster before this. Do you think I'll have a heart attack?
Should be alright.
That should be good, right? This is delicious. The condensed milk, like in my culture, my dad used to drink coffee with condensed milk all the time, so I'm familiar with that too. So we're somewhat alike when it comes to coffee. So condensed milk, like my Cambodian culture, like my dad used to put condensed milk in his coffee, like, and you know, growing up, like we're poor, so we eat condensed milk with like French bread too as a snack. don't drink coffee, so.
So do you guys ever do like where you boil the can?
Boil the can? I've seen my dad do that, yes.
That's the best. My grandma used to do it. Take a can, put it in a pressure cooker for 45 minutes, the whole can, and then open it up and it's like dulce de leche. It's like caramel.
Wow.
And we put it on like saltine crackers.
I gotta try that. Feel the caffeine here is, woo, double time. I'm up.
I'm gonna put this on top of your coffee.
Oh, that's the version of what it's been warmed up?
Yeah, so this is... I don't even serve this right now.
What's that
This
called?
is VIP. This is dulce de leche. Let's see how to use it. I literally just made this the other day playing around. It's super, super rich. You could even see.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need a lot of this stuff though. It's like caramel times 2.
Is that just made from condensed milk?
Just condensed milk.
Boil the can?
Yup.
Wow.
Wait till you try that.
Shoot. He just added the special sauce right here, so. What's this called? I gotta learn my Spanish. I gotta
Dulce de leche.
Dulce de leche. I hope I didn't butcher that.
Dulce de leche means a dulce is like a sweet or a dessert.
Right.
So it's a milk dessert is what they call it.
It's a milk
Or a
dessert.
milk sweet.
Okay, so I'm about to mix it all in and take it to the head. I'm gonna be up for 2 days.
Ya está.
Oh yeah,
Está.
that hit different. I'm super up right now. Dunzo. I feel like dying.
This is a sandwich that is very near and dear to my heart. Like I said, I was a fine dining chef for 13, 14 years. I love to play with really high-end ingredients and really create something magical, even if it's a simplified form. So in this sandwich, we use that same roasted pork. Now the Swiss cheese is elevated to a Gruyere cheese. The same bread, right, because that's foundation. And then the ham that we use for this sandwich is no longer a boiled ham. If you look here, this is jamón ibérico. And this Iberic ham comes from a good friend of ours in Newark, Rodrigo Duarte, who is the king of ham. He is the only person in the United States to bring the Portuguese black-footed pigs to the United States, raising them here locally in Jersey. He butchers them, he cures the meat, and he makes this ham for us. Phenomenal product. It's not overbearingly salty. And this is why I told you you have to have a regular Cuban first. So once you have this sandwich, no regular Cuban will do. So let's go ahead and prepare this. So we hit it with the mojo, which is the base of all Cuban cooking, right? We can't forget the mojo. Move that to the side so it doesn't burn. And now instead of putting pickles, we do pickle relish. So in here we have a little bit of jalapeno, we have some red bell peppers, tiny bit of sugar, some shallot. Put that on there. That's our level of acidity. And then I am not a huge fan of mustard, but this guava mustard gives it some tang, a little bit of sweetness. To me, it's the perfect combination for this sandwich. Close this bad boy up. Lots of butter on top. And we'll finish it off. It's the showstopper. For sure.
I'm excited to try the Kubita. This is their signature sandwich, and I saw some ingredients that I like. I like mustard, even though he don't like. I love me some mustard, but he said guava mustard. That's different. I've never had guava mustard.
So to me, the thing is with yellow mustard, sometimes it's just too tart for me. It's too sharp.
Right.
So I find that once we made it into guava mustard, it just had that perfect balance, especially on that sandwich because it has so many fatty components to it. Really works nice.
I like that. I like that there's balance in your food in Cuban food.
100% and everything. Look, the test. Give it the flick test. You know the flick test now.
Is there a certain way to flick it like this? I'm gonna give it the flick test.
Oh.
If it sounds like cardboard, it's right. Does that sound good?
That bad boy sounds ready.
Looks amazing. Smells amazing. And the diagonal cut is how they do it over here. Or just in Cuba in general?
In general, in Cuba, when you get a Cuban sandwich, it's always cut this way. Me and my wife traveled Cuba. We tried Cuban sandwiches everywhere, and we made sure that the sandwich here was better than any sandwich we ever ate in Cuba.
You heard that? This is my childhood. I haven't seen this in like decades, so I'm gonna buy this for decoration for my house. Jupina. All my life I've been pronouncing it wrong. I said Jupina. Well, let's get to the main event right here, the Kubita. Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Cut diagonally. Man, mustard looks amazing. It has a relish on here too. I love relish, so I know I'm gonna love this sandwich. Wow. All right, so I had
The ham's been aged for 36 months.
36 months?
36 months the ham that's on.
Wow, so this is some fine dining right here. The ham has been aged for 36 months. Flavor.
And those pigs are only fed a very specific diet. Chestnuts, acorns.
Wow. High quality. All right. First bite. Let's see if I could finish half. Flavor Central. I didn't know. How come nobody told me about Cuban food? Oh, the relish, the mustard. That's my flavor. The savory pickles give that nice balance.
The skin from the pork.
How'd you know this is one of my favorite things to eat? I love the pork skin.
I can read people.
When my girl makes Phanit, I'm like, yo, save me the skin. And then when they throw it away, I give it.
This guy wants some chicharrón in his life.
Chicharrón. One of my favorite snacks is chicharrón. This is delicious. It just hit the spot. I'm trying to make room, but I'm gonna go ahead and fill this, and I'm not gonna eat for a few hours. We'll definitely eat the rest of this later. Shout out to Gus for the hospitality, and let them know where they can find you on social.
Cubita Cafe NJ on Facebook, Instagram, I believe TikTok. We're not really on TikTok like that. And then my @ is always Hudson Chef, Hudson County boy. You know what I mean? Yeah, and if you follow me on the Hudson Chef account, you always get a little insight to what I might put on the menu, what I might special. You know, that's more of like the inside of behind the scenes before we publicize things. But yeah, man, we're dropping merch soon. We got hoodies, we got snapbacks coming. Cubita's more than just a restaurant. It's a way of life. It's a cultural thing. We're trying to unite people, you know, and food does that. Food is the one thing that always brings people together. There's many things that divide us, but food unites us. We're a firm believer of that. So stop by and check us out, guys. Appreciate all the love.
What are you guys waiting for? Come to Cubita, Nutley, New Jersey. Alright, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I see you guys on the next one. Peace. Alright, boss. Thank you so much for a great experience.
Absolutely,
and I'll
man.
definitely be back.
Very important. Here, grab this the other way.
Alright, this.
Very important. Pinkies up.
Oh, pinkies up. Pinkies up. Cheers.
Salud.
Salud. Espresso, you just take a shot like it's a shot of Henny.